So I'm sitting in our marketing confessional booth today at the Midwest Digital Marketing Conference, and I've been asking people to stop by and confess their own marketing mistakes and anxieties and ideas and concerns. And you know what? I have one that I am willing to share. I'm not that great at networking, and I have to flip a switch inside to make myself even want to do it. That might surprise you, because on this show, I probably seem like someone who really enjoys getting out there and meeting people and talking to them about marketing. But you know what? The truth is, I have to work myself up to that. I'm what you might call an extroverted introvert. I have to turn it on if I want to interact with people I don't know. And like a lot of people, when I walk into a room full of strangers, I'm very prone to stand in a corner and just sort of scan the room and not talk to anyone. And then when it's time for the speaker or the event or whatever, I sit down and listen and take notes and maybe ask questions. But then when it's over, I get up and leave. But you know what makes me interact with other people? When I see someone I know, I'll walk up to them and say hello and then hang on to them for dear life, because suddenly the very uncomfortable act of being in a room full of people I don't know gets easier. But even that is not a great tendency, because think about it. If I only talk to people I know and they only talk to people they know, then I'm not really networking when I'm going to these events. I'm just finding a clique to fit into. And what I'm ignoring is that there are probably a non-trivial number of people who are also there, maybe at their first networking event in a while, and because they don't know anybody and they're uncomfortable, they're not ready really to speak to strangers either. Unless, that is, someone breaks the ice and talks to them. Most people don't mind having someone come up and introduce themselves and start talking to them. That takes all the pressure off the interaction and can even make things fun. Who doesn't love an extrovert to come talk to them and make them feel comfortable and welcome? Who doesn't appreciate a person who can actually make them feel like someone actually noticed them? Who doesn't value a person who can help them to make connections with others in the room? Now, can I let you in on a little secret? Those people who are willing to take on that role of being extroverts are more often than not people like me who don't come by it naturally. They choose to turn it on, and they challenge themselves to meet new friends, make new friends, meet new people, and they don't do it because they have to, or at least not most of the time. They do it because they want to, because they know something about marketing that all of us ought to realize. It's really not about those presentations or activities or panel discussions that we all agreed to get together to see. It's about the human connections formed in the process. And more often than we might realize, those connections are what make or break our careers. And so I'm going to give you some secrets of networking today. I'm going to kind of follow my script, but you know what? This is recorded live and unedited here at the Midwest Digital Marketing Conference. So I'm Sean in St. Louis, and this is the Marketing Gateway. When I was in my 30s, there was this group sponsored by the accounting firm UHY. It was called the Next Executives. It offered free breakfast seminars for people under 40. I went every month I could and tried to learn whatever I could pick up. And I'll be honest, some of those sessions weren't so great. You know, one time the speaker was a multi-level marketing guy I'd previously seen at a trade show who almost talked me into spending $2,000 on some very ridiculously expensive kitchen pots before my wife helped break the spell of a sales pitch and got me out of the jam. I figured out later the pots had a horrible reputation for not only being overpriced, but also really easy to ruin. And half the things he said in his sales pitch were half-truths. Anyway, so you can bet I wasn't too happy to hear from him again. And you know what's sad? He didn't even remember me. But one day, we had this lady come in and tell us the secrets of networking. And I wish I remember who it was, because I would love to give her credit. But I will say this. Her presentation really changed my perspective on what it even means to be good at networking, because she debunked one thing right away. To be good at networking, she said, you don't have to be a natural extrovert. It helps. But the truth is that natural extroverts also tend to come on a little too strong sometimes, and they make introverted people feel uncomfortable because they're not sensitive to what it might feel like to be uncomfortable in a room of strangers. What you do need to be, she said, is friendly. And that's much easier for most people because most of us are already pretty friendly. We smile, we say hello, we put on our best manners and treat each other with a polite regard for personal boundaries and space. We try to make introductions feel natural and not at all creepy or uncomfortable, and we try to make small talk. But we often mistake being friendly for being timid about why we're at a networking event. And in truth, we're all there for the same reason, to meet people who can help our career. And so she offered these tips. The first is to put on a name tag. If one's not provided, you can bring some or have a nice one made for you. Name tags are absolute magic because they help you get over the awkwardness of knowing how to greet someone, especially if you're not sure if you've ever met before. And name tags also signal that you want people to talk to you because you're sharing that most personal piece of information, your name. The next tip she offered is to watch for people who are standing by themselves or who look new. Excuse yourself from the familiar folks and walk up to those new people and simply pretend to be the host. Welcome, you can say, I'm not sure if we've met, but hey, I'm Sean. And then you can direct them to the food or the name tags or invite them over to your conversation or whatever else you need to do. And if they ask if you're the host, you can say, no, I'm just helping out. And that's a good enough answer for most anyone. Now, you know what? I've used this tip many times, and it works. It allows me to be what I am and what I do best, to be helpful and to help people who are new or nervous or feeling insecure or introverted to feel a little bit less so. And now they know someone in the room, me, and that can help them let their guard down a bit and introduce themselves to other people. Try it sometime. It works even better if you're wearing a name tag. The third tip she offered is to actually tell people why you're at the event. Be intentional. I'm here because I work in marketing and I'm hoping to make some new connections, or I'm looking for a job and I thought it'd be a great way to pick up some new skills, or hey, my friend's speaking today and I'm here to support them. Believe it or not, being candid about why you attended a networking event makes you more memorable to the people you meet, and it also encourages them to open up why they attended. Maybe they're also looking for a job. Maybe they're hoping to make connections. Maybe they also know the speaker. This helps you to have real, authentic relationships with others and prevents you from falling into the trap of just exchanging pleasantries, but never really taking the time to get to know one another. The fourth tip she offered is to write down what you talked about in your notebook, on their business card, and your phone, whatever. And then when you do meet again or follow up to set up a talk or connect on LinkedIn or whatever else you might do, you can make it about the authentic conversation you had and not make the person feel like you're just viewing them as a lead you want something from. Now, I can offer a fifth tip of my own as well. Introduce that person to other people in the room, especially if they're interested in someone you know that has something that they can provide. I cannot emphasize enough how being a connector can really benefit you in the long run, because it'll help you to not only have a lot of friends you'll begin recognizing at these events and who can help you to feel more comfortable and relaxed, but you can also be a real resource people will seek out when they need help or advice. In other words, you won't have to go to them. They will come to you. And that makes networking with casual acquaintances or colleagues so much easier on everyone. Now, can I tell you one more thing? Don't give up if you go to a networking event and have a bad time. It happens to all of us. I've certainly had my fair share of events where I never was able to make a real connection with anyone there, or where it was just the wrong crowd for the type of interactions I was hoping to make. All you can do is try and try and try again until you find that group or set of colleagues who are the right fit for you. You know, for me, that's been the St. Louis chapter of the American Marketing Association as of late, but I've been in other groups with other colleagues like the one I'm at today. And I've also found networking to be a good use of my time when I open myself up to following the tips I just shared. Do I walk about with contracts in hand or get new job offers or guaranteed referrals from my company? No. No way. That's just not how it works. But what I do walk away with is an ever-growing network of people I now know who are going to be more likely to help me out if I need something that they can help me with, and who may also remember to think of me when an opportunity that's good for me comes to their attention. Well, I hope this has been helpful for you in thinking about networking. And hey, I'm off to go do some more myself. I'm Sean in St. Louis, and this has been the Marketing Gateway. We will see you next time. This month, it's National Donate Life Month, and so I want to encourage you to consider registering to be an organ donor. Did you know that one organ donor can not only save up to 8 lives, but can also donate corneas that can help people with their vision and tissue that can be made into hundreds of incredibly beneficial medical products? Your gift of life can go really far in benefiting others, potentially 75 lives or more. And you might be surprised who can be a donor and what can be donated. Even people in their 70s, 80s, and 90s can be donors today. When you register to be a donor, all you're doing is saying, if I die, I want my organs and tissues to go to the people who need them. You can be confident that the doctors and nurses who are taking care of you will do everything they can to keep you alive, and it's up to them, not the people recovering the organs, to decide when you've reached a point where you cannot come back. Every now and then there's a sensational news story about a situation where the hospital got it wrong, but those cases are rare. And that's why there are so many precautions in place to ensure that donation is administered with safety, respect, transparency, and a high degree of ethical behavior. Donors are heroes and they're treated with dignity. And there's an important reason why you need to consider this. There are over 100,000 people on the National Transplant Registry right now who will die if they don't receive an organ. Many of them need a kidney transplant and have to go and do dialysis treatments daily just to stay alive. Dialysis is time-consuming and not a lot of fun, and those individuals have trouble leading healthy, happy, productive lives because they're really, really sick. 13 people die every day waiting for an organ transplant. So imagine there's a mom out there who needs a second chance to take care of her kids, or a new grandfather who wants to see his grandkids grow up, or a child who wants to have a chance at leading a full life, or a newlywed who hasn't had a chance to settle down and start a family yet. All of these sorts of people, and more just like them, are on the waiting list now, and they need your help. I personally know many of the hardworking professionals who get those donated gifts to the people in need, and let me tell you, I'm always amazed by their passion, their professionalism, and their dedication to caring for donors and their families. So please visit donatelife.net and click on Register to be a Donor. If you're willing to read up on the resources to learn more, feel free. And if you're not ready to register but still want to be a donor, please tell your family and friends so that if they have to make the decision for you, they will know your wishes. And you won't be alone. 90% of Americans support organ donation.